saw you talking about it, yeah.
I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points?
I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
But you can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Someone must have... Did that line close? Because someone was in the comments complaining about that game.
They would have had to have played it live or got there's no way because they won by I think 9. So 6.5, 7.5.
He must have commented it before the game was over.
I was gonna say because 6.5, 7.5, 8.5 all covered.
Yeah, so I didn't know. I didn't even respond to the comment. I just saw he was like, "Stupid Rutgers backdoor cover." He must have commented it before it was over or something. Because Penn State covered decisively, right?
Yeah. The only number that wouldn't have covered was 8.5, which I don't think it even got close to 8, let alone 8.5. So,
I gave Vanderbilt the wrong password to get in. He's in there trying to get in. All right. So, Vanderbilt is joining us in a second. Shout out to the Buckeyes. Am I right? Shout out to the Buckeyes. You love to see it. So that Ohio State win makes it, the streak continues. 6 winning days in a row now. Today wasn't even great, though. I went 2-2. The only reason I was in the green because Ohio State I bet heavier than my other 3. So, yeah, things are looking up.
It felt good to make like a decent sized bet on a big game and then really not have to sweat it and then feel like you've lost it all and then get it right back.
Yeah.
That was a good little rush tonight. It was nice.
Yeah, it's been a nice run. And November, December were so bad for me that forgot what it's like to be, life is a lot better. This job's a lot easier when you're winning. Let me tell you.
It's and that's like the one thing that I wish that people that like the talking heads would talk about because it's really hard. I mean, like right now, like I went on like a 35 unit run and now I'm down 20 units like over the last couple of weeks. Like it's such a roller coaster. And there's some plays now that I'm definitely more gun shy on, but like it's really hard to try to keep your face on and like go through this and not know that you're down 20 units and not let that try to affect how you play the games.
Yeah. I try not to even like pay attention of where I'm sitting. Trevor, if you see this, I sent you the new password. It's not Thursday 1. It's Tuesday 1 is the password. So none of you freaks better use that password and join the stream. No, I'm just kidding. You can't do it without the link.
I was going to wait. Is that even possible?
No, I know. Someone said you put the password in the chat. I know. It doesn't matter. If you don't have the link, then the password. You have to have the link and the password to get in. So there you go. You guys got the password.
You don't want Kyle to have access to your computer.
There he is. All right. Trev, I don't remember you talking about college. Did you bet the Natty today?
What's going on, guys?
Just not much at all. Just I am on a nice little run here, 6 days in a row, thanks to Ohio State. Did you have a bet on the Natty?
Yeah, I had the under. I knew that was pretty well cooked about the 21 points in the second quarter, but
yeah,
8-3 in college basketball today, so it made up.
Yeah, I saw you had a good college basketball day. I'm assuming most of the people watching the midnight show probably know who you are, but in case you don't, he guest spots over on the college. What is it? College Sports Experience? College Experience. The College Experience.
Yeah, the College Experience. Yep.
Yeah, with Moneyline Mac over there. They do. I like that. I watch that show. It's good stuff over there. So, all right, let's get into it. We got Vanderbilt on the road at Alabama. Not interested in this one, but you guys can go ahead and take it away. There's a couple on here I'm interested in. The last game on the board is the one I'm eyeing up.
How could you not be interested in this game? You got Vanderbilt, that's like everybody's darling right now, seem to be winning games, and now you have Alabama off a big Kentucky win. This is a really good game.
Tell me what I should be interested in then.
I still think that Vanderbilt's could be live in this game. I mean, Trevor might feel differently, but this Alabama team is so volatile, and then scoring 100 points on the road in Kentucky, and now having to come home and play Vanderbilt, who I'm sure Alabama considers them a little bit of a sleepy spot. I don't like the fact that Vanderbilt has Kentucky on deck. But at the same time, I mean, you're getting a Vanderbilt offense that doesn't turn the ball over, an Alabama defense that doesn't force a whole bunch of turnovers. You have a Vanderbilt offense that's a much better free throw shooting team. So even if this game is 1 or 2 possessions late, like I always talk about, you have a much better free throw shooting team. I don't think that the Vanderbilt defense is that much worse than Alabama's defense. Matter of fact, Vanderbilt's defense, one of the best defenses in the country, forcing turnovers. So I don't know if what Vanderbilt has shown us the last couple of nights, especially against Tennessee, is real, because I think Trevor would agree with this. Tennessee isn't as good as people think they are. So especially with Lanier not being what he is. So again, I think this is a really big prove it spot for Vanderbilt. So I would lean Vanderbilt. I didn't bet it because I assumed that people would bet Alabama and this number would go up. But I wouldn't be laying 12 plus with Alabama in this spot, even though they are at home.
Well, Rod is in the comments. He says, bet Vanderbilt on the money line against bad pressure defensive teams that force 12 or less turnovers a game. Vanderbilt's record is since 2023 in those instances 14-4. So he's saying bet Vanderbilt money line, which is, I'll bring it up. What does my graphic say for this one for Vanderbilt money line? It's going to be a pretty penny, plus 550. Trev, do you agree Vanderbilt's aside? You're muted. You're still muted. His volume was working for you before.
Yeah, I heard it fine.
Did I mute him? Let me just make sure I didn't. No, I don't have him muted. No, it was working before. We were talking before.
Weird.
Want to leave and just come back real quick? I couldn't tell by his facial expressions if he was saying, yes, I agree with Vanderbilt or not.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see. Again, another thing while he's coming back is Vanderbilt. This is the reason I kind of feel like this is a good focus spot for them, is because they haven't done well against the upper echelon competition that they've faced. I mean, obviously their best win is Tennessee, but besides that, their best win is probably LSU, maybe Nevada. So again, it's one of those situations where I want to see what Vanderbilt can show me, because if they can look good in this game, maybe they're going to be something to look forward to in the future, especially because you're probably going to be getting multiple points with them each time out.
Trev, can I hear you?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Perfect. All right. I actually like Bama in this one. Kind of some rough spots here. I mean, good spots for both. I mean, Vandy took down Tennessee at home. Damn good win. But, I mean, Chaz Lanier's been doing nothing lately. So, I mean, they're pretty much just relying on Ziegler for the most part to keep that team afloat. They almost blew that game too. But Alabama went to Kentucky, big road win. I think they can come back home and build on this, especially since their last home game, they were laying this exact number and lost outright to Ole Miss. So I think they come out and they play a good game. I think they don't miss much, and I think Vandy kind of just struggles with the hangover spot. I mean, they just court stormed on their in-state just big brother. So I think it's kind of a little bit of a hangover spot for them, and I think Bama kind of rolls in here.
I'm down for the hangover after the court storm. I'm putting Bama up for me. Not gonna bet it.
I didn't bet Vanderbilt pretty much for that reason, but at the same time, I'm just not comfortable. I like the fact that I like what you said about them losing Mississippi, though. That makes sense.
Rod is firing Vanderbilt trends here. 3-2 against the spread versus Alabama since 2022. 5-1 against the spread versus Alabama since 2015. Not to mention they did beat Alabama in the fall. A different sport, but they did beat them. Diego Pavia. Rod must love Vanderbilt.
So, Trevor, I just want to let you know Kyle usually uses college football references and college basketball. It's all together. So if Pavia played for whoever the hell he just played for, he still plays for him right now.
I've tried to explain that.
If Pavia played for the basketball team, I'd be all over Vandy moneyline tomorrow too. That's for damn sure.
I've tried to explain to him that the energy, it goes through the athletic department like electricity, and just through all sports. If there's a Vandy,
okay, can we do this really quick? Do you believe in the island rims in Maui, Trevor?
No.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
They put up 170, 180 points a game. I mean, look at what Dayton was doing out there.
I know. Next
Random
game.
distribution of numbers. There's no such thing as island rims.
Kyle refuses to believe.
The Maui thing's known. It's well known. Just blind bet. I think if you blind bet the over, you lost like 1 or 2 games on the island this year.
Yeah, I think I was 7-3 to be fair, but I could have been 8-2. I'm not positive, but yeah.
I've already made it a point that I will be blindly betting unders next Island Rim season, whatever the hell that is, just to prove to you that ghosts aren't real. There's no such thing as island rims. They're made out of the same iron. Anyway, Mississippi State,
maybe.
Tennessee, another SEC game. Toast, you just hit a bet with Mississippi State against Ole Miss, right?
Yes, I did.
They were.
Wait, no, I didn't. I lost.
Wait,
that
did
game
they blow
because-
that lead? They went up big early.
It didn't matter. I ended up playing them 5.5, so yeah, they didn't. But I had them in a money line parlay. That was more that somebody
So
else.
they blew
lost. I
that
don't
lead.
remember
Weren't
what
they
it
up
was.
like 18 early?
Yes.
I don't know how much it was, but yeah, they had a pretty significant lead. I think at halftime they were up like 8 or 9 or something like that. But yeah, the last 10 minutes of the game they completely fell apart.
So
I'm curious to see what
you got to
Trevor has
see.
in this
Well,
game.
Tennessee just got beat by Vandy, right? You got to think this is get right?
See, I'm a big fan of this Mississippi State teams. That's why I'll let Trevor go first because I think everybody knows watching this show that me and Chris Jans are like this. I'll sit in the dentist chair whenever he wants me to. So I'm just very curious to see what Vandenbosch thinks about this.
Yeah, no, Mississippi State blew that game. They were up big. They owned everything statistically and still just couldn't put them away. That was brutal. But I like Mississippi State here. Same thing like I said about Tennessee. They go as Chaz Lanier goes, and he's been MIA for the last week or two at least. So I know everyone's going to see a short number with Tennessee bounce back at home. I don't think so. This Mississippi State team is really good. They play defense, offense. They can play tempo. They can slow down. I don't think they're going to struggle in this building. I know Rick Barnes, you fade him in March, you back him at home, but this team is they're kind of just lost a little bit right now without Lanier. So, I mean, if Lanier pops off tomorrow and he, drops 22 again, then, so be it. But haven't seen it for a while. So I think Mississippi State comes in and plays this game tough because this is a top dog in the SEC. They're not going to sleepwalk this one.
My graphic just popped up 6.5, but my other graphic says
Oh,
7.
Yeah, it's probably moving a little bit. It wouldn't surprise
I'm
me.
pulling up the current line right now to see what it is.
But I'm on the same thing. I bet Mississippi State plus 7.5 as well. I do think that they're a little bit undervalued here in this spot. I agree with Trevor. I think that Tennessee is kind of floating off of what they've did at the beginning of the season, which was really impressive. I mean, having a win against Illinois is going to be really, really impressive. Baylor on a neutral is really impressive. That Louisville win looks really, really good right now, regardless if it was the second game of the season. Now that Louisville's playing out of their mind, that game looks really, really good for them. But again, what Tennessee's done over the last week or so hasn't really been impressive. I don't really think that Georgia is they're not a top 25 basketball team. They're not like Mississippi State. I think that they have some really good pieces, but they're still trying to find their way. And that would make sense that Tennessee kind of blew them out, especially at home. But again, they played Texas close. I think Texas and Mississippi State are a little bit very familiar, are very much the same. And I think that Mississippi State does everything that Texas does, just a little bit better. They're a little bit better of a defense. Mississippi State, like a top 15, top 20 defense in the country. And if you take a look at what they're doing offensively, they're doing pretty much the same thing. So I'm sorry, not offensively. They're not 20th. They're like 16th. So they're a little bit even better. But regardless, I just, who's going to score for Tennessee if it's not Lanier? That's my question, because they're going to be facing a Mississippi State team that can play defense. So yeah, I think that the only thing that worries me, and you guys are going to laugh, but Mississippi State can't shoot free throws to save their life. And Tennessee does a lot of fouling. So Mississippi State should have a lot of chances on the line tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, I bet Mississippi State. I think they're very live here. I think that Tennessee, like I said, has been floating on what they did at the beginning of the season. So we'll see what happens here at home. Tennessee also has Auburn on deck, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, but maybe I would buy that Tennessee has Auburn on deck if they didn't just lose to Vanderbilt. They can't look ahead if they're losing to Vanderbilt.
I agree with that, but I think that the look ahead angle is kind of crazy because I think Mississippi State's for real. Mississippi State, their last two losses, Auburn and Kentucky. Obviously, most teams in the country are going to lose both those games. And then not to mention that they lost another game against Butler, which is inexcusable. I will give you that. But still, it is what it is. It's college basketball. So I personally think that Mississippi State's one of those teams very similar to West Virginia that's a lot better than people think they are. And they'll find out sooner or later.
I'm putting Tennessee up for me.
Mississippi State's got South Carolina on deck too. They can put all their eggs in this basket on this road game too. So I think Mississippi State's live. I think it comes down to the last possession or two.
I think when you said if Lanier beats us, I think you hit the nail on the head. If he goes out here and puts up 20, so be it. But if he has another night where he goes whatever he's been shooting, 1 for 5, 1 for 7, 1 for 5, 2 for 7, 5 for 11, I think the Mississippi State probably wins this game.
So Rod seems to be pretty big on the under in this one. He says Mississippi State is ass. I've never seen Rod use the word ass before.
Jeez, Rod. Calm down, bud.
It's a children's program, Rod. No, he says Mississippi State on the road shooting is ass, 41.3%, and Tennessee's shooting 39.1% in conference. I bet under the total in Rick Barnes' home games against up-tempo teams averaging 62 or more shots a game. After 15-plus games into the season, the under's record as coach of Tennessee, 8-0. So there's a hot Rod trend for you. I don't know if I'm going to take Tennessee. I don't back home after losing to Vanderbilt. Come on, what are we doing here?
I really just don't think they're that good.
Yeah, I think they're kind of flaring a little bit. I mean, and again, like you can trace back this questionable streak they've been on to when Lanier's just kind of started shitting the bed. So
Charles White brings up a good point. He says Toast hates Lanier.
I don't hate the kid. It's the fact of the matter is over the last few games, he's went 1 for 5, 1 for 7, 1 for 5, 2 for 7, 5 for 11, 3 for 9, 2 for 2, 5 for 12, 3 for 11. I mean, it's just really not impressive for what he's been doing. So, yeah, until he shows me that he can do something, especially in conference play, I'm not going to be worried about him.
So you don't like him?
I mean, Lanier did have 17 last game. They still lost to Vanderbilt. I know it was on the road, but other than that was his best game since January 4th and played Arkansas, who we know is abysmal. So
he's due.
If he did, you could argue that, but I think Mississippi State knows they have to kind of keep him contained for the most part.
I was going to say, and he has 17 and he shot 4 for 6 from deep. So if he shoots another 4 from 6 from deep, again, so be it.
Next game, and this one, if you guys co-sign it, I'm down to jump in. In what world are we laying 13 with UConn in a Big East game?
Dude, this makes absolutely no sense. Trevor, do you know about the Caravan news? Is this official?
I have not. I was scouring. I could not find anything on it. It was just questionable game time decision stuff. So who knows? But man, what has UConn done since McNeely has left? I mean, they've been squeaking out games here. See if I can find their schedule. Yeah, they've been squeaking out games. Lost at home to Creighton. Lost at Villanova. Georgetown gave them a game. Providence was up double digits at Stores. Yeah. Congrats on whooping DePaul, but Butler was a 4-point game in Hinkle too. So if Caravan's out, I'm betting Butler. But if he does play, I'll probably just stay off because I never have luck with Butler games. But they are off a loss and at home, so it's kind of just a weird number. But it feels like a lot of people are buying into UConn's going to bounce back off of a home loss, which I don't necessarily think they could. I think they could win this by 8 or 9, sure, but 15 points, 14 points.
There's a difference between bouncing back and then beating somebody by exactly 15, 20 points. Toast Butler?
It's the only way you can look. I was kind of thinking that Connecticut in a bounce back because especially going to be playing at home again in Stores. Like you would assume that that's like a big amped up spot for them to play well. Not to mention the fact that you guys know how I feel about Thad Matta and anybody that's coached, any team coached by Thad Matta. They're absolutely terrible. And they're coming off a win after losing 50 in a row. And obviously I'm exaggerating here, but I mean, Butler hasn't done anything. I mean, their best win this year was SMU. And I think that was more of a fluke than anything, but regardless, you're asking a lot for this Butler team on the road. The one thing that I will say that the reason that you could, I guess, trust Butler a little bit more. They hit their free throws and they play really, really slow. And that's one thing that Connecticut's been doing really this year as well, as they've been playing extremely slow. Connecticut 314 in average possession length, Butler 291. So you're probably getting a slow paced game at, I don't know what, 56, 60 possessions, give or take, probably not 56, but 60 possessions maybe. That's really asking a lot. Even if Caravan is in there and 100% healthy, that's really asking a lot of Connecticut to cover this number with two teams that play just at a crawl, as I like to say. So it would only be Butler for me.
Rod says you should bet UConn. He says bet Dan Hurley in home games against teams who average 6 or less steals per game. It's against teams who average 6 or less steals per game. Hurley's record as coach of Connecticut is 22-6 against the spread. So Dan Hurley excels against teams that don't force a lot of steals.
Well, it comes into play because Butler, I think, is the worst team in the nation at creating turnovers. Like, they literally don't create turnovers at all. So that could come in.
61.
Yeah.
Rod,
So
bad.
pretty much.
Rod says he thinks Caravan has a good chance to play.
I would assume so because of the number, yeah. But again, we're going to get to another game here that has injury concerns that doesn't make sense. I don't know if it's the next game. It actually might be the next game. It is.
Next game's Texas Tech, Cincinnati. We'll skip on over. Trev says
That's
he's
the
passing
one.
on this one. I haven't found one I want to bet yet. I know the last game I'm definitely betting. But I was hoping to find one or two more. Haven't found
What's the
any.
last game?
Oh, you'll see.
Is it our boys? Is it our boys from Texas? No, I can see that. You're going to bet Texas with me. You'll hear me. Hold on. But anyway,
No,
Texas Tech.
I have a bet in that. I have a side in that. We'll see. You'll see.
We'll get there. We don't want to. No spoilers on this
Texas
show.
Tech, Cincinnati. Someone likes. I think it was Helms likes Texas Tech in this one. Wasn't he saying it? Yeah, he was saying he likes Texas Tech.
Helms is the square of all squares. That's why.
So you're on Cincinnati, I guess.
No, I haven't bet this. I just this line just reeks. I don't know. Trevor maybe has a little bit better perspective on this, but this line absolutely reeks. There is no reason that, in my opinion, unless Toppin is out and there's kind of conflicting reports. Trevor, I talked to Trevor earlier today. He read that there was a little bit of an ankle injury. I read that Toppin was just sick and now he should be fine. There's a lot of BS going on. This line tells me that he's a true questionable to play because I don't understand how it's under 1 or under 2. Like, Texas Tech should be laying at least 3.5, 4. Even on the road, I'll give you that. But this team has went on the road and beat Kansas State, Utah, BYU. I mean, so it's not like and those games are in conference. So, like, I don't know. Trevor, you can hit the floor because I have no idea. On paper, Texas Tech should win this game going away. I understand that Cincinnati's defense is really good, but at the same time, any time that they've stepped up in competition, they've been absolutely throttled. Let's not pretend that Colorado and Arizona State are good basketball teams. So, it's Texas Tech or pass most likely, but I can't bet it until I know if Toppin's playing.
So you mock Helms for picking Texas Tech and then say Texas Tech or pass.
I'm going to mock him every chance I get. So, yes, that's exactly what happened.
Trevor, do you agree?
Yeah. This line kind of tells me that Toppin probably won't play. I mean, it feels short, but
I agree.
I mean, Cincinnati's also been getting weird numbers at home. I mean, 1 to Kansas, they lost by 14. 5.5 to Baylor, lost by 20. Arizona 2.5, lost by 5. I mean, they're catching these weird numbers and they're not showing up. They're kind of like what Xavier was doing earlier. So maybe you're getting a little bit of respect because they won back-to-back games and Toppin could be out, but I wouldn't bet Cincinnati with your money. I mean, this team is putrid to watch. It hurts. They put up 40 against Kansas at home. 40.
That's what someone said.
I was going to say, maybe if you wanted to play an under, like, go for it.
Yeah.
But even, you guys know how much I like free throw shooting. Texas Tech, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. Cincinnati puts teams at the foul line more than almost any other team in the country. Oh, on the other side, Cincinnati offensively can't shoot free throws to save their life. Texas Tech doesn't put anybody on the line. Like, this line absolutely reeks.
So, yeah, James Meek said, I live in Cincinnati. That offense is horrible. So it's first-hand knowledge of the offense. So I guess I'll put Texas Tech up. It doesn't even
on
sound
paper,
like you guys
Texas
really
Tech
like
should
it.
win
Though.
by 10. Like, regardless of how, unless you really honestly feel that Cincinnati is some amazing defensive team. But again, the Texas Tech offense is going to be probably the best. Let me see, the best offense they've seen since all year. I mean, who's better? Maybe Villanova, maybe Baylor on 100% healthy, but nobody else comes close to what Texas Tech is doing offensively. So, yeah, I don't know.
As far as our poll, and the people watching this show for the most part are going to be more experienced. Like during the 4 p.m. show, we get like a lot of people are going to be people that the people watching this one are going to be bettors that take it a little more seriously. People are clicking on Cincinnati. I'm not saying we're polling heavy on Cincinnati or anything, but this is not a blow away Texas Tech.
I know a couple people that I respect on Cincinnati, so again, maybe I'm missing something. It's not like I've been pitching out winners a whole bunch anyway. So on paper, though, this makes no sense.
We got someone vibe with Ant says Cincinnati money line in the chat. Rod says bet under the total in Cincinnati games against good offensive teams that score 77 or more points per game. The unders record is 9-0 this season.
What's the total?
I mean, this game could easily be like 64-55. No problem. It can easily be that.
You can get a 134 on DraftKings.
I was gonna say I that would probably be my best look, because even if Toppin's in, and if say the people that I respect and other people like Cincinnati, they're gonna play through their defense, and that's what you're gonna want. Cincinnati wants to win a low-scoring game. So, and if Toppin does get ruled out, then Texas Tech isn't gonna be able to score more than 30 points. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but he's their best player and their best leading scorer. So,
judging by what you guys are saying, the line should be closer to 4. From what you're saying. So clearly this line is indicative of the sharp play would be Texas Tech team total under, because that's the angle they're playing, is they think Texas Tech is going to struggle to score, right? That would be like the sharp play.
That, yeah.
Like quote unquote
tells me
in a vacuum, yeah. So
I'm going to write it down.
Both teams play super slow, 259 or 259, 221 in average possession length, so you shouldn't see a whole bunch of transition.
I'm writing down Texas Tech team total under.
I'll be curious to see what you can get that number at tomorrow. They usually don't post team totals at night.
DraftKings got them up, I believe.
Oh, there it is. You're right. 67.5. Whew.
It's a good play, right?
I was going to say, yeah. That's a lot.
In a Cincinnati game?
Not a lot, but I was going to say, yeah, the way that these two teams play defensively.
I just feel like with that line, that's what the angle they're playing is. They think Texas Tech's going to struggle to score.
And not to mention Texas Tech, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. Cincinnati, one of the best at defending it. And Cincinnati has a huge height advantage. So if Texas Tech isn't hitting their three balls, maybe they really start to struggle. I mean, there's definitely a lot of avenues for that bet to cash. I can, for sure.
This one, we got the total up at 141.5 in a Purdue game, which, from my understanding, is a slow-paced team, right?
100%, very slow. Yes.
So 141 seems kind of high for a Purdue game. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Both two of the better three-point shooting teams in the country. So that probably helps. Both teams shoot free throws pretty well. So both teams are a little bit more methodical. Ohio State will get out and run with you, but more methodical, but usually cash in on possessions for the most part.
Is there a hangover from earlier tonight?
It took me a second to. I'm like, wait, what?
I was like, wait a minute.
I almost said what from them coming from the West Coast, and then I saw Ohio State's name.
By winning the Natty. If this was a home game, I would say we take Purdue. Stands will be.
Purdue is at home.
No, I know. I'm saying if it was, in Columbus. People made fun of me for doing that, and I cashed a couple bets like that last year.
I mean, they're definitely going to be partying tonight. That's for sure. But they're probably in Lafayette right now, though. That's the thing. They're not going to be on campus.
Yeah,
they might be a little more laid back.
Do you have a play on this one, Trevor?
Yeah, I took Purdue 10.5. I know they were just on the West Coast. They didn't shoot well. They didn't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they'll be fine. If this was in Ohio State, I probably wouldn't look to back Purdue by 8, 9, whatever they're going to be. But Mackey gets fucking loud. Like, they get rolling in that place. And once Purdue gets on a run, like, they can run it up on you so fast. Braden Smith, Lawyer, Kaufman, Wren, first, they've all started to find their groove a little bit, started to gel and figure out what kind of team they are. They force an insane amount of turnovers. Ohio State turns it over a bunch. Purdue's defense is great. Ohio State foul a ton, so you're going to send Purdue to the line when they're getting a home whistle already, where they shoot really well from the free throw line. I think this is going to be like a 76, like 62 kind of game. Like, I don't think Ohio State's going to have a ton of success here. This is a building play for me. I know it's off the trip, but Mackey's going to get jumping. That's for damn sure. So give me Purdue 10.5.
I'm telling. I'm going to bet it now.
Yeah. That was pretty much my thoughts as well. A couple other things that I like about Purdue. They played one of the hardest schedules in the country. So not only does their winning streak look really well, their losses are Auburn, which everybody's going to lose to. Marquette, a very good team. That Marquette game was their fourth or fifth game on the season. That was on the road. They lost to Penn State on the road and Texas A&M. So their losses are against some of the better teams in the country. And they have wins over Alabama, Maryland, Nebraska, Oregon. The Oregon game was what got me. I think that Oregon's pretty good. I think they're one of the better teams in the country. But what Purdue did to fly to the West Coast, dismantle Washington, and then 3 days later come into Oregon and really snuff Oregon out. I mean, I don't really feel. I watched that whole game. I know that Oregon had the lead. I think even a half maybe, but there. At no point did I feel like I was going to win my Oregon bet. I think I had Oregon money line or maybe -1.5 or something. But as soon as the second half came out, it was all Purdue from there. And now they're back home at a place where they just play absolutely insane at. This Ohio State team has been really, really inconsistent, and not to mention the fact on the road, a loss to Wisconsin. That game was like one of those games where Wisconsin was up by 17 or 20 in the first half. And then Ohio State just came out on fire in the second half. Like, I don't think that's going to happen in Mackey. The other game on the road, they won against Minnesota when they should have lost that game. Minnesota pissed down their leg in the final 10 seconds. And Ohio State ended up coming back over 2 overtimes. So like Trevor mentioned about the turnovers issues, and not to mention the fact that, again, Purdue is just running over everybody. Like I said, after watching them almost dismantle Oregon the way that they did, they only won by 7, but it felt like a lot more. I think Purdue is going to be a bet on for a while. So, yeah, I'm on Purdue as well.
I just bet. I actually got a 10 at Caesars. It's pretty much 10.5 everywhere, but I did find a 10 on Caesars, and I bet this. Purdue. I'm in. Next game. Someone asked about North Carolina. I actually think that's 2 more games until North Carolina. Marquette, Seton Hall. Oh, how the mighty have fallen here. Man, just such a disappointing year for New Jersey. Seton Hall, Rutgers, we need St. Peter's to just knock off a 1 seed or something.
Quick side note, Kyle. Did you know that the Knicks play the Lakers when I'm in town? Just something to think about. Because, man, that'd be a game.
What weekend are you coming again?
It's like the weekend after you get back from Vegas, like the 25th or something through the 30th. I don't remember. I'm there the weekend of the 30th. That's when that game is.
Is it like a Friday or is it Friday night?
Saturday night.
You might have to go to the Garden.
Okay. Next game, Marquette. Let's go.
LeBron will probably sit.
That's what I was exactly about to say. I was like, if I paid for tickets and this motherfucker sat, I'd be so pissed off.
No, I'm down to go. We'll see if Prop Beaver wants to go.
I'll be so pissed.
Anyway, Marquette is laying 12.5 points on the road at Seton Hall.
Yeah, but
New
they're
Jersey's
off of
in shambles.
They're off of a home loss to Xavier too.
Bro, this team's bad, Toast.
Seton Hall?
They're not good. They're not a good basketball.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know they're terrible. They just lost by 30 to St. John's, and the only way I look is Marquette. So I don't have a super strong feeling about that, just because Seton Hall is at home and they play at a super, super slow pace. So maybe they can slow this game down a little bit, and maybe that gives Marquette a little bit of trouble here. But I'm not laying it with Marquette. It'd be Marquette or pass for me. But Seton Hall does force turnovers. That's one thing that Marquette usually relies on, is not turning the ball over. I would assume that Seton Hall has a plan for that, a plan for Cam Jones. We'll see. I'm not going to bet this one, but it would only be Marquette off of a home loss or pass. So they've been somewhat decent on the road as well. I mean, their losses on the road was Iowa State, which everybody's pretty much going to lose there, and then they had a stinker against Dayton. But besides that, they've been all right. They beat Providence in the dunk. They beat Xavier. DePaul, your boys from DePaul, they beat them at home on the road as well. So,
Trevor, you trying to lay 12.5?
Well, I'd be more tempted if I found out what Adewusu was going to do. He missed last game, and Toomey or whatever his name was also missed. I was on Seton Hall prior to that game. I got that news, and I flipped over to St. John's. If Adewusu's out again, this is going to be St. John's 2.0. Like, Marquette's going to steamroll him, and it's going to go under. I know it's Seton Hall. It's already a low total, but Seton Hall struggled to score 55 in this game if he's out. I mean, he does a lot for that team, and then you're getting a pissed off Marquette team at home. I know I don't like laying double digits with Shaka. They did lose at home, laying 10 points. Now they're hitting the road more, so laying more. So, if Adewus was out, I'll probably hop on Marquette tomorrow if he's going to play. Slight lean to Seton Hall, but I don't want to get in bed with Seton Hall playing the kind of ball that they do against a pissed off Marquette team off a loss.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good year for Seton Hall, that's for sure.
Hey, that Georgetown game was fun. They covered that. Came back and covered.
Was Toast on Georgetown?
Oh, this is Christmas.
Nope. I was with the family, being a family man. But our Hoyas came through tonight. That's all that matters.
Oh, easy.
I almost live bet
I was never
Villanova.
worried.
I almost live bet Villanova because literally every single person in the Discord was on Georgetown. I was like, Villanova's
Discord knows ball.
Yeah, literally every person that was chatting had a Georgetown bet. But now we got Mizzou, Texas, and hear me out. I know Texas has been kind. I've cashed a few Texas bets myself.
You've never lost with a Texas bet.
I've never lost with a Texas bet this year.
Thank you.
That being said, in all those instances, what was the case? We were catching points.
Okay, touche.
We're now laying, and now is the time to get on the fade train. We go Mizzou here. Trevor like this. He's with me. Let's do it.
Keep the points. I'll take the money line. I know it's not a lot, but I'll take the money line.
Yeah, Kyle. I'm just going to say, for all those points that you made about Texas laying points, getting Missouri, one of the hottest teams in the country, at plus money isn't weird at all either. It's not weird.
It's also Texas, though. People love Texas.
I know, and you don't understand how much I hate the fact that Texas continues to make me money this year. You have no idea. I didn't bet them against Florida, so it didn't matter to me, but oh man, this Texas team.
I smashed Florida. I smashed Florida that game. That was easy money.
So
no, Texas is terrible. I mean, Missouri's really high right now. Dennis Gates is best team. And I know this opened at 2.5, I believe, so it's already coming down. I'm sure they're catching money. I'm sure it's probably a fairly public play, but Texas has Texas A&M on deck, little in-state. I know they've just lost. They came off the Florida ass kicking, heading home, laying points. Feels like a trap. Feels like they're kind of be like, oh, hey, Texas is favored for a reason. They're going to bounce back right before A&M. I don't believe it. I like this Missouri team. Dennis Gates hasn't played well. This offense is great. They're shooting 41% from three in conference play. So, a little small sample, but not too bad. I mean, they played 5 or 6 games already. So they're shooting it hot. They'll get to the foul line a lot. Texas fouls. Texas doesn't rebound. And Missouri forces a ton of turnovers. So I know I argued whatever Texas game we had taken, Oklahoma, that Texas got 3-4 guys that could step up, win them games, or keep them in it. But to Toast point or Kyle's point, they're laying points now. This is different. They got to win by margin. They don't have to keep it within a certain number. So give me Missouri on the money line. They're gonna win by 7-8 tomorrow.
Thomas Schott is out tonight, and he says, "Yup, Mizzou by double digits." Rod, bet against Texas in home games on the money line against very good teams. Teams outscoring their opponents by 8 or more points a game. Texas record since last season, Toast, 1-7 in such instances. So go ahead, Toast. I mean, I guarantee you Rodney Terry would never let you down.
I guarantee after Rodney Terry sees what they just gave Steve Sarkisian, his boys are going to be ready to roll tonight. That's what I think. So honestly, this is more of like I can't really argue with anything that these guys said, but what I will say is that I want to see Missouri prove it to me on the road. They've only played 3 true road games this year. One of them was their first game in the season. It was a loss. I don't really put too much into that. The other one was Auburn. Everybody loses to Auburn. It's fine. The other one was a really nice road win against Florida. But again, beating Vanderbilt, beating LSU, beating Arkansas really doesn't move the needle for me. And you have a Texas team that since the beginning of January has played Texas A&M, Auburn, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Florida. I mean, that's the who's who of this SEC conference. So I do think regardless of how Missouri's playing, the teams that Texas has played, this is going to be a little bit of a step down in class for them. And I think that they do match up kind of well with Missouri here. I think that they'll be able to slow the pace down a little bit. And one of the things is that, and Trevor mentioned it, Missouri has been shooting the lights out from three. If they can do that here across the country a little bit for them, so be it. If they shoot over 40% here in the Moody Center, I can handle that. And it all comes down to the one and only thing you guys know I care about. It's all I do is look at is free throw percentage. And you have Texas, the second best free throw shooting team in the conference, against Missouri, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the conference. So if this game is close, I'll take the home team that can shoot their free throws. I did Plexus on the money line. I didn't lay any points with those bastards, but I did play the money line.
I'll switch it over to the money line. Our poll is dead even. 45% on Missouri, 45% on Texas. This is going to be a game to watch. I'm definitely betting this one. I would imagine most of the group is going to be going to have wagers down on this one.
A lot of people, I know a couple of people already in the group in Missouri. I just want to point out that tickets to Toast and Texas Island will close at tip-off, and no one's getting in late. So
no one wants to be on that fucking island, dude.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I just had to fire security.
Next up, North Carolina plus 1.5. Wake minus 1.5. We got the total at 148.5. I feel like I don't know anything about North Carolina. I don't think I've bet a single North Carolina game. I don't think I've watched a single North Carolina game this year.
North Carolina is North Carolina. Trevor, answer me this one question. Is Wake Forest finally starting to play better basketball? Or are they just playing dog shit teams since the beginning of December? That's my question.
Well, you get better when you play dog shit teams and you smoke them.
Agreed.
So, I mean,
Okay.
I think they are getting better.
Okay.
North Carolina's nothing to write home about. This team is
exactly.
terrible.
That's why I'm saying is if you think that they're playing better, then I think that you probably take them at home here, right?
Yep. Yeah, I played money line already. Wake Forest has been playing really good. I mean, Salas, Hildreth, Efton Reed, those guys have been monsters. Wake Forest defense is far better. North Carolina doesn't care to play defense. They just want to let you score, get the ball back, and go down and try to get some buckets here. So I think Wake Forest at home, they're going to be up for this game. Like, you get North Carolina coming in town, like they're going to get up for this game. Wake Forest first in conference play, forcing turnovers, where North Carolina 10th worst. They defend the three. They defend inside. They're grabbing rebounds. I mean, North Carolina, yeah, their defense looks good on paper, but what do? They just give up points and points. They just lost at home to Stanford, for Christ's sake, at Chapel Hill. Wake has Duke coming in. Yeah, it was terrible. Classic ACC, but
yeah.
Wake's got Duke coming in too, and they know they're not going to beat Duke. Like, they're just going to be real. Like, let's get this game, and I think they're gonna roll. I think they're gonna win by double, 2+ possessions here. I know North Carolina's offense can keep them in it, but this is a get up spot for Wake. They know they're going to drop Duke, and this is a big game. This is Big Brother coming into town. So, give me Wake on the money line.
I'm in.
It's funny.
Just tailed it.
I was just going to say, it's funny that you said that because I was thinking the same thing with Duke on deck. If you're Wake Forest, you don't really think that you have a shot in hell to really beat Duke, but you have a very good shot to beat North Carolina. Not that they can play certain players or anything like that, obviously, but again, mentally, that makes a whole bunch of sense. And the one thing that I like the fact is that Wake Forest isn't going to get in an up and down battle with this North Carolina team. Wake Forest likes to slow the game down and play through their defense. As Trevor said, North Carolina doesn't play defense very often. They just like to get up and down. But North Carolina doesn't really do a great job of rebounding, especially on the offensive end. So it's not like they're going to get a whole bunch of extra putbacks. They don't shoot threes that well at all. And so if Wake Forest has this game slowed down and North Carolina's offense is forced to work in the half court, I think that's advantage Wake Forest. So Wake Forest matches their free throw percentages as well. Neither team has a huge advantage there. Wake Forest has a big height advantage as well. So even if there is 50-50 balls, I think that Wake Forest is going to be able to find themselves some rebounds as well. But neither one of these teams has been good as far as rebounding wise. Excuse me. So I'm going to be betting Wake now too. I was kind of waiting to see what this line was going to do, but there's no question for me. It's Wake.
It's Wake across the board. I bet it. I got it at minus 113 on FanDuel.
It's Gonzaga of the East with Salas and Efton Reed running the show.
As far as the comments, we got Rod on Wake Forest. He says bet on Wake Forest in home games on the money line against good defensive teams that force a shooting percentage of 42% or less. 11-1 in such instances since 2023. Thomas Shot. Oh no, Thomas Shot's talk about something else. Someone says Wake ain't ready. Rod shared another Wake Forest
Wake ain't
trend.
ready for what?
He didn't specify it. Just Wake ain't ready.
When's the last time that North Carolina beat somebody good? I'll wait.
Someone says Wake is shot here or Wake spot here. Can't tell. So yeah, we're a Wake program. I like it. I'm in. I just bet it. Wisconsin, UCLA. Last time we talked about UCLA, I tried to warn Toast.
I didn't play Iowa. I'm just saying there was no way in hell I was laying 6.5 points until I saw UCLA do something. And what happened? They didn't miss a shot. So do they do it again today? That's the question.
You paid no heed to my warning.
No, you didn't pay the bill for your heat. So why would I turn it on?
I said you paid no heed.
Oh.
So when we were talking about that UCLA Iowa game, I forget who it was, but it might have been Trevor, honestly. Someone in the comments was talking about how UCLA has really good defensive numbers at home. And I forget who said it.
It wasn't me.
I would love to take credit, but it wasn't me. So 3.5, kind of short. Wisconsin, tougher opponent than Iowa?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not even a question. Yeah.
Didn't Iowa just dog walk Wisconsin earlier in the year? Oh, no, Wisconsin. Okay, no, it was the other way around.
Yeah, we put up 116 on their bum asses.
You said we?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like Helms.
You're a Helms folk?
Guy.
I didn't
yeah,
know
me and Helms. He lives down in Madison. He's liberal. He's got a different way of living.
How many? I didn't know. How many of you guys are out there? There's more than a handful. He's
like a lot.
I think there's 2 or 3 of us, including Helms in that.
Holy cow!
I never met anyone from Wisconsin before, and now I know 2 people from Wisconsin. There you go.
I live like 25 minutes from Lambeau.
Oh, cool.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Lambeau's always good.
So it looks like just from the early voting, everyone's clicking Wisconsin plus 3.5.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, this is like what?
So this is a
Trevor?
Sketchy line, you think?
Yeah. Yes. This is sketchy. This is
so. Is the Oh, go for it. Go.
No, I was gonna say. What were you gonna say? So was the what?
You go.
I don't know how you.
I'll go. UCLA's the play here.
That's what I want to say, but I have to figure out a way to base it to make it look like it makes sense, because on paper it's pretty much Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin has been absolutely on fire. Maybe you can make a case that it's the second game of their West Coast road trip, but again, that's you're really grasping at straws there. I mean, they lost. I mean, Wisconsin's lost by 3.
Wait, hold on. What did you just say? Coming off a road trip?
No, it's their last game of their West Coast road trip. So they're like they've been in LA for a couple, like the West Coast for a couple days, and now they got to fly home after this.
Because Rod just said, bet against Greg Gard in away or neutral games off of a road win. He's 1-12 against the spread as head coach of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I also think that it was kind of weird that we're getting this number, considering that Wisconsin kind of demolished USC. I mean, it was kind of close at the beginning. Or I'm sorry, they went really big up in the beginning, and then USC tried to come back, but it was never really ever in question. So I don't know. I want to be sharp and play UCLA, but I don't really know. I have to see their shooting. I don't want to go off of what they shot their last game. I mean, really quickly, they shot UCLA was 8 for 23 from deep and 28 for 35 from 2-point range. So shooting 80% from the field is just not something that they're going to be able to do again. Not to mention the fact that Iowa defensively is not even in the same stratosphere as Wisconsin. Wisconsin's probably a top 40 defense in the country. Iowa's in the 160s, 170s, something of that nature. So I don't even think it's even close. Again, on paper, Wisconsin should win this game, but the question you have to ask yourself is what do you think of UCLA? Do you think that UCLA is the team that they were from January 4th, the month of January, where they had to travel to the East Coast 4 times and back West Coast to the East Coast back 4 times or whatever? I don't know. But yeah, it would be UCLA or pass for me just on the number alone, just because that number reeks to me.
UCLA or pass?
Yeah. Wisconsin's, is just getting mashed at 3 again, catching more points on the road after they just did what they did to USC. I didn't bet USC because I want to see what Wisconsin does on this road trip first, their first West Coast road trip. But I mean, that's the one thing I'm getting hung up on is UCLA shot 80% inside the arc, and they shot from three pretty well. Like, that's not going to happen again. And Wisconsin's got 5 shooters that can all shoot the three at all times on the floor. So I mean, that shouldn't be an issue. But UCLA forces a lot of turnovers. That could be trouble. And just it feels like it's such a trap to take Wisconsin at plus money again on the road after what they did. And UCLA's been just ass, and they just shot out their minds. So I mean, this is kind of a tough one. I think Wisconsin, obviously I'm a fan. I think they'll win. Like, just on paper, they shouldn't be catching points, but it's weird. Yeah, Wisconsin money line or nothing, because either they're going to win this game or get blown out by.
I agree. I would
10,
agree with
15.
that as well. I would agree with that as well. Not to mention, you have, as always, the Wisconsin, the best free throw shooting team in the nation, and UCLA, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the nation. So, again, there's just nothing to get to UCLA. Even if you want to say that UCLA forces a whole bunch of turnovers, Wisconsin doesn't turn the ball over. So, I mean, it's, again, maybe UCLA's defense is better than what Wisconsin has seen, really, but is it really that much better? Like, I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess we're going to find out, but I'm not really there to,
I'm not betting this.
No, stay away. There's better spots to bet.
I'm curious to see what this is in the morning. Like, if this is 4 in the morning, like, you could probably put UCLA money lines in your parlays. And the only reason I say that is because the books have to be extremely comfortable giving Wisconsin out at 4, even 3.5 right now.
Yeah.
Washington,
I will say
Oregon.
that unranked home favorite spot hasn't been too sharp the last couple weeks to a month.
We don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about
it. You get it.
We're not going to talk about it.
So Rod likes UCLA, by the way. I said bet on UCLA coming off a home win against a conference rival since 2023, 13-2 against the spread. So yeah, Rod likes UCLA.
Conference rival, they've never played each other in the same conference.
I say coming off a win against a conference
rival.
rival.
Gotcha.
Who did they just play though?
Oh wait, they just played
Iowa.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I guess it is a conference opponent.
Yeah, he's not wrong there.
Washington, Oregon. 12.5. Oregon just let Toast down in a major way the other day.
Trevor, go ahead. I don't know what to do. I'm definitely not laying fucking 13 with the Ducks. That's what I can tell you right now.
No. I mean, I just looking at recent history, I mean, the last like 3-4 years, these teams always play tight. Trying to find this number here. Oregon, Washington lost at Oregon by 2 last year, and they were all right. But I mean, the year prior, Oregon, they won by 1 in overtime. And then year prior was like a 4-point game or something. Like, no matter what, Dana Altman always struggles with Washington, and I'd argue they have a better coach with Danny Sprinkle. They're starting to figure it out, and Washington's been at home. They don't have to, fly across the country again. I know Oregon didn't play great. They missed an ungodly amount of shots against Purdue the other day, but 13 is just too much. I mean, Great Alcibor could just have a game where he just dominates. He goes for 22, 15, and 4, and they lose by 8 points. So I don't think Washington's live, but at 13 is far too much. I bet Washington already. Like, I think Washington keeps this within 7 or 8 points.
Todd Fox in the comments says Washington money line, Oregon's dead to me.
Dude, I feel you, bro. That was so bad. I mean, it helped, though. I will say it helped because it showed me how good Purdue is, and especially like Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer. Like, those guys are just so damn good at college basketball. But the reason that I hadn't bet it yet is because you guys know me. Oregon, a really good free throw shooting team. Washington, a very, very bad free throw shooting team. It is what it is, but it's one of those things that I just can't really get over. But I do think that Washington has been able to slow this game down, and I honestly think that funny that he mentioned Osibor, because I think that he might be able to take Nate Biddle to the cleaners, regardless if Nate Biddle has the size on him. So if Osibor goes off a little bit, I think that Washington should be all right. Though I was hoping to catch 13. I was going to watch this one to see what it did, but regardless, it's only Washington for me. There's no way in hell, and it's not just because of what happened against Purdue. It's just the way that keep in mind, Washington has been lost their last 4 games, but they faced Purdue, which a lot of people aren't beating Purdue. They beat Michigan, and Michigan had a freaking really good game against them. Michigan State's the best team in the Big Ten, and obviously Illinois is one of the best teams in the country. So, I mean, most teams, I usually say this, most teams, if you play them against those 4 teams in 4 games in a row, most teams are going to lose 3 out of 4, if not 4 out of 4. So it's hard to fault Washington for what they've done given how hard their schedule has been.
Check this out from Rod. It says, bet against Oregon in home games against conference opponents. 2-12 against the spread since last year. That's not like an obscure trend. That's home conference games. 2-12 against the spread. Is that right?
Is this a Husky program tonight?
I don't like it. No.
I don't like it. You're like my 2-year-old. I don't like that. Noodles.
I don't like it. No. So this number's huge. After Oregon played a bad game, everyone's going to be wanting to take it. I'm super good.
I think everybody's going to be wanting to take Oregon, though. That's
Oregon,
the thing.
because
I think everybody's seeing Washington. Yes, because everybody's seeing Washington lose and Washington lose and Washington lose. And now they're getting Oregon off of a loss, and Washington's on the road, and Oregon's at home.
I don't know anything about Washington, so all right, we got 1 game left, and look, there's certain things that don't show up in your models, right? They don't show up in the stat sheet. You're not going to find it on KenPom. Things like grit, things like faith, things like hard work, and sometimes just you find a team that checks every box.
Oh my God!
That's why I toast.
You know what? I agree with you in this play. I already know who it is.
I didn't even put it up yet. How do you even know who I'm
I
talking
already
about?
know it's DePaul. I already know. I
It's
can
the
tell by the way
goddamn
you're
Blue
talking.
Demons.
I can
Oh,
tell by the
no,
way
no.
you're talking. It's DePaul.
See, sometimes you find a team that checks all the boxes, and people are looking at stat sheets. They're looking at their models, and they're like, "No, DePaul's not a good team," and they just don't get it. Honestly,
Dude, I agree with you. That's the problem.
it's not a problem. It's a solution. The Blue Demons have turned over a new leaf. The market hasn't caught up. This is a gritty goddamn basketball team right here.
Go ahead, Trevor, because I agree with him and I hate it. I hate it so
I
much.
do kind of agree with you, especially with Creighton off of finally getting a road win at Stores and knocking
That's what I'm
that
saying,
streak off.
dude.
DePaul just won their first Big East game in literally 2 years. 2 years.
When it rains, it pours.
Market
called the
value, dude.
snowball
It's
effect.
Completely low. It's a buy low situation.
But man, it does. I will say it does feel a little short. 6. It does feel a little short if DePaul was going to lose or not be competitive. Maybe they do build something on this. Maybe they keep it rolling. I mean, Creighton's going to have the advantage every which way in this game. It's just the way it is. But man, Creighton, I guess 67% free throws. They don't get to the free throw line. They struggle rebounding, getting offensive boards. So you could argue it, but I wouldn't bet DePaul. I'll sit back and root for them, but.
And Creighton's one of the least gritty teams in the Big East.
Here's another thing. It's funny because I was looking at that, and obviously I know I talk a lot about free throws, but Creighton's a very good free throw shooting team. DePaul, top 10 in the country and not putting teams at the free throw line. They do a very good job of playing defense without fouling. So that could come in a little bit bigger than most times when you're facing a Creighton team that kind of lives and dies off the free throw line with their percentage. So again, I think that as long as DePaul doesn't just get absolutely throttled inside, I think they're going to be okay. As far as I think that they can exchange 2s for 3s, because again, I do think that they're going to be competitive in this game, and DePaul likes to shoot the 3 ball. So, and the one thing that DePaul offensively has struggled with a lot is the ability to not turn the ball over. And good for us, Creighton 360 in the nation in turnover percentage. They don't turn the ball over against whoever they're playing. So I think that DePaul is going to have a lot of not easy shots, a lot of shots today because they're not going to be turning the ball over. And even if they shoot 30% from deep, they're probably going to be in this game. So, yeah, I didn't know that you were actually going to bring this on the show. I almost messaged you in the Discord, but yeah, I really think it's a DePaul spot. And like Trevor just said, like if you sprinkle them, I wouldn't be surprised if they're live to win this basketball game because this number is a little bit short. And again, Creighton isn't like some fantastic basketball team, guys.
No, they suck.
I don't think that they've played a very good schedule. I will give them that. But I mean, the Kansas win now doesn't look that great. The Villanova win is starting to look better, but it's not that great. the Connecticut when their UConn win. I mean, how good is UConn? I don't know. I mean, they've lost 2 out of 3 to Villanova and Creighton now. I mean, previous to that, the only teams that UConn is beating is DePaul, Providence, Georgetown, Butler. I mean, so it's not like, again, I'm not. This isn't about a bash UConn thing. I'm just saying that you can really poke holes in the teams that Creighton's had to play and beat too. So again, it's disgusting, but I definitely lean DePaul.
I like this guy Charles White in the comments. He said, and I quote, "Don't be scared of the demons." I like that. I like that a lot.
I'll give you another point. Creighton on the road, or Creighton 3-point at home, 37.2 on the road, 31.7 this year. So a drastic drop off. So I will give you that.
Trev, it sounds like you want me to put a Blue Demons logo up. Try it on. Try it on. Just try it on. See how it feels. Just try it on real quick. I'll take it off.
You know, it does look kind of nice. It does look kind of nice.
I'm saying it. And there's something.
Okay, here's the thing.
Ice pop.
Could we get a better number live potentially, though? You know, they come out a little slow after the big win, and then Creighton just kind of shits the bed a little bit.
I think they're coming
Maybe
out
could
gunning.
get a better number, but
I think they're coming out gunning. 8-0
I agree
run.
with you, Trevor. That would make sense too. Yeah.
I think they're coming out gunning.
I mean, you're tempting me to bet DePaul potentially.
Yeah.
Because valid points all around.
Oh, I don't really have a point. I can't name one player on the team. I just the team's got grit, and everyone laughed at me when I bet them last time. Who's laughing now?
Yeah, I took the 9. The second that Sorber news was, or I got word about that Sorber, I didn't take the money line. It wasn't feeling it that much, but I took the 9.
First, Rod says he's betting DePaul. Now he says he's Rod. Oh, on the money line. Okay, so Rod says bet against Creighton on the money line after 3 or more consecutive wins. 2-7 in such instances since 2024. Charles White wants to know what Toast's free throw percentage is.
Over 70%, prick. It's not in the red.
All right, that's the last game.
I'll argue this one more point. How many money line parlays are going to include Creighton tomorrow? Ooh, a ton.
The question is how many are going to win? 0.
It's a fair point.
And Sauce, if anybody asks you about DePaul, all you need to remember is CJ Gunn. So if anybody says you don't know anybody, just remember that's an easy name to remember.
Yeah, I'll throw it into my DePaul
Connor
speech
Enright.
For the next DePaul speech. I'll have CJ Gunn.
Yeah, but Connor's been kind of.
I need like their grittiest player
overall.
Not their star. I need like their grittiest player. So all right, that's the last game.
NJ Benson.
If you guys don't follow Trevor already, that's his Twitter right there below him. And like I said before, he's on the College Experience. What'd you say, Tuesdays and Fridays over there?
Tuesdays, Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Tuesdays, Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern on College Experience, which is a YouTube channel. We watch it here. It's a cool channel. They do a good job.
Yeah.
So go click subscribe over there. They're cool guys. It's fun. It's like upbeat and funny. It's
the guy. Didn't Colby Dance start some of that too?
Yeah, Colby does the night show.
Okay,
I think they're going live in like an hour or so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing
Colby was
college
the one
football's
hosting.
done now, so.
When I watched, it was Colby.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, years ago it was just
like the other night.
Oh no, yeah, he does the night ones. The pre-games are like Mac and then me and some of the other guys I do shows with. We do the pre-game, and then at night it's them. They just get all liquored up and make picks. It's always a good time.
It's a fun show.
I love it.
If you like college sports, it's a fun show. I don't know the guys.
Say,
I'm not plugging them.
I know
because,
Colby
I
a
don't
little
know
bit.
them.
I've talked to him over the years, and I went on his show a couple of times. But yeah, Colby's one of those guys. He does every game, almost every show or whatever. He knows what he's talking about. He's a really fun watch.
Cool.
Yep.
So all right, see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Blue Demons. Next time you see this face, no, you'll see me 4 p.m. I was gonna say next time you see this face, Blue Demons will have covered, but that's not true.
Pump the brakes here.
I'll be up for a while if you need me. Hit me up in the Discord. Talk to you tomorrow, guys.
Later.